Meet Marcus. Marcus works hard, saves responsibly, and does everything the adults told him to do. Every month, he puts $500 into his savings account at First National Bank. He feels good about this, responsible, mature. Basically a financial genius. His bank also feels good about this. Very, very good. Because while Marcus is sleeping soundly knowing his money is safe, his bank is wide awake, lending that exact same money to someone else at 24% interest. Marcus earns $1.20 a year on his savings. His bank earns roughly $1,200 on it. Same money, same year. One of them is getting played. Spoiler, it is not the bank.
Let us start with what your bank actually told you. Somewhere in the fine print of your account agreement, between the paragraph about overdraft fees and the paragraph about more overdraft fees, it says your savings account earns 0.01% APY. 0.01%. For context, that is not a typo. That is not a rounding error. That is your bank looking you dead in the eye, shaking your hand firmly, and saying, "We will hold your money, lend it out at 7 to 24%, and give you back 1 cent for every $100 you trusted us with for an entire year." 1 cent per $100 per year. At that rate, if you deposited $10,000 today and left it untouched for 100 years, you would earn $10 in interest. Your great-grandchildren would inherit exactly enough to buy a coffee, assuming coffee still exists, and is very cheap. Marcus read none of this, because the font was small and the document was 47 pages, and honestly, who has the time? His bank was counting on that too. Here is the part they genuinely hope you skip, because once you understand it, 0.01% stops sounding like a savings account and starts sounding like a participation trophy for letting someone else use your money. When you deposit money in a bank, you are not storing it. You are lending it to the bank. The bank takes your deposit, keeps a small fraction on reserve, and lends the rest out to borrowers at dramatically higher rates. Now, here's where it gets spicy. Reserve requirements in the United States are currently 0, as in the Federal Reserve removed minimum reserve requirements in March 2020 and never brought them back. Your bank is legally required to keep exactly none of your deposit available at any given time. 0. Written in the law by regulators who work for the government that you voted for. So Marcus deposits $10,000. The bank notes it as a liability. They owe Marcus $10,000 whenever he asks. Then they lend $9,000 of it to someone buying a car at 7% interest. That borrower deposits the loan into their account. Now the banking system has $19,000 from Marcus's original $10,000. Their bank lends 90% of that. And on it goes. This is called fractional reserve banking and money multiplication. Your $10,000 can theoretically generate $90,000 in loans across the system, every dollar of which earns the bank interest. Every dollar of which started as Marcus being responsible. Marcus, financial genius, earning $1 a year and absolutely thriving. Diana works the same job as Marcus, makes the same salary, saves the same $500 a month. The difference is Diana's cousin sent her a meme about high-yield savings accounts 3 years ago. Not even a good meme, just a meme. Diana spent 11 minutes on her phone opening a new account. She earns 4.5% APY. On the same $10,000, Diana earns $450 per year. Marcus earns $1. Diana bought herself a nice dinner with her savings interest. Marcus bought himself a gumball, a small one. To be completely fair to Marcus, nobody told him. His bank certainly did not volunteer the information. There was no email with the subject line, "Hey Marcus, we are paying you essentially nothing, and here is a dramatically better option." No pop-up, no pamphlet, no well-meaning banker pulling him aside in the lobby. Just a very comfortable silence and a very comfortable 0.01%. The bank calls this a competitive rate. They said that with a straight face. They continue to say it. The interest spread is just the most obvious layer. Here is the full picture. Buckle up, Marcus. Layer 1, the deposit spread. Already covered. Your bank pays you 0.01% and lends your money at 7 to 24%. The spread between those two numbers is your bank's favorite number. It has a poster of it above their CEO's desk. Moving on. Layer 2, overdraft fees. Banks collected $7.7 billion in overdraft fees in 2022. The average overdraft fee is $35. The average overdraft transaction is $24. You paid $35 to borrow $24 for less than a day. That is an annualized interest rate of approximately 17,000%. Your credit card called? It said it feels judged, and it would like an apology. Layer 3. ATM fees. The average out-of-network ATM fee is $4.73 per transaction. You paid $4.73 to access $20 of your own money. That is a 23% fee on a withdrawal that took 45 seconds. The ATM did not even say thank you. It just beeped. Layer 4. Monthly maintenance fees. The average monthly maintenance fee is $13.95 if you do not meet the minimum balance requirement, which means the people who can least afford the fees are the ones most likely to pay them. The bank has chosen to call this a service fee. The service being provided remains a mystery to financial investigators worldwide. Layer 5. Foreign transaction fees. Take your debit card abroad and your bank charges 1 to 3% on every purchase for processing. The actual cost of the currency conversion is fractions of a cent. The rest is your bank charging you for the audacity of leaving the country while still owning money. Layer 6. Paper statement fees. Some banks charge $2 to $5 per month to mail you a record of your own account. Your own account, the account that belongs to you. They charge you to tell you about your own money. This is the banking equivalent of a restaurant charging you to read the menu. Layer 7. Safe deposit box fees. $40 to $300 per year to store things in a metal box inside their building. The box costs approximately $0 in ongoing operational expenses. The fee exists because at some point a banker said, "What if we charged for the box?" And everyone in the room nodded and nobody laughed, and here we are. Layer 8. Wire transfer fees. $15 to $35 to send money electronically to another bank. The actual infrastructure cost of a domestic wire is under 50 cents. The rest is the bank applying a $34.50, "We noticed you had money and wanted to move it" surcharge. Layer 9. The float. When you deposit a check, your bank immediately receives the funds, but they hold them for 1 to 5 business days before crediting your account. During that window, they earn interest on money that is technically already yours. At scale, this is billions of dollars annually. It is like a restaurant holding your food at the kitchen for 2 days and earning money on it while you wait, and charging you a service fee for the wait. 9 layers, all running simultaneously, all quietly, all on top of the 0.01% that you're paying Mulkis, who's currently reading a 47-page document nobody warned him about.
Diana did not stop at the high-yield savings account. Here is her setup, explained in the time it takes Marcus to read page 1 of his account agreement. Emergency fund, 3 months of expenses in a high-yield savings account at 4.5% APY. Liquid, safe, and earning something that could generously be called real money. Short-term savings, anything she needs in 6 to 12 months, in a money market account yielding around 5%. Still liquid, still safe, still earning more per month than Marcus earns per year. Treasury bills, money she will not need for 3 to 12 months, parked directly with the U.S. government through treasurydirect.gov. No bank involved, no fee, no 47-page document, currently yielding 5.2 to 5.4%, backed by the full faith and credit of the United States government, which is, whatever your feelings about it, a more reliable institution than the ATM that charged Marcus $4.73 last Tuesday. Diana earns 4 to 5% on every dollar she saves. Marcus earns 0.01%. Over 20 years on $50,000 in savings, the difference is approximately $89,000. Not because Diana is smarter, not because she works harder, because she spent 11 minutes on her phone after receiving a meme from a cousin. Marcus is reconsidering his relationship with memes. 6 steps to stop being Marcus. No meme required. Step 1. Open a high-yield savings account today. Fintechs like Ally Bank, Marcus by Goldman Sachs, SoFi, and Discover consistently offer 4 to 5% APY. Opening takes 10 minutes. You keep full FDIC insurance. The only thing you lose is the privilege of earning $1 a year. Step 2. Keep only 1 to 2 months of expenses in your regular checking account. Spending money stays accessible. Everything else stops sitting in a 0.01% account feeling appreciated. Step 3. Move your emergency fund to the high-yield account. It is still liquid, accessible in 1 to 3 business days. The extra 2 days is not an emergency. Quietly donating $450 a year to your bank's net interest margin is. Step 4. For money you will not need for 3 to 12 months, look at T-bills on treasurydirect.gov, direct from the U.S. government. Current yields around 5%.
No bank, no fees, no beeping ATM. Step 5. Audit every fee on your bank statement, line by line. Monthly maintenance fee? Call and ask for it waived, or switch accounts. Overdraft fees? Opt out of overdraft protection entirely. ATM fees? Use your network, or switch to a bank that reimburses them. None of these are fixed costs. They are optional donations, and your bank accepts them gratefully, every single month. Step 6. Check your interest rate every 6 months. High yield rates float with the Federal Reserve benchmark. When rates change, your account should reflect it. If it does not, shop around. 15 minutes of comparison twice a year is worth hundreds of dollars and costs nothing except the mild inconvenience of logging into a website. The bank did not design your savings account to help you build wealth. They designed it to hold your money at the lowest possible cost while lending it at the highest possible rate. The 0.01% is not an oversight. It is the entire point. The gap between 0.01% and 4.5% is not a secret. It is just information your bank has absolutely no incentive to hand you with your welcome packet. Marcus eventually found out. Diana told him over lunch, right after her savings account notification arrived for the month. Marcus stared at his phone for a long time. He opened a high-yield account that afternoon. It took 9 minutes. His bank sent him a customer satisfaction survey the following week. He gave them 3 stars. Marcus is growing. If this video saved you more than 0.01%, subscribe. We break down the hidden math behind the financial decisions you face every week. And unlike your bank, we actually want you to know what is happening to your money.